Can you put me in with Brad Winster, please?
Yes, one moment, please.
16th of April. I did a show just a little bit ago, and I always forget something. So speaking of that, we'll see if we can get this up here so I can show you what I'm talking about. Be right back. Hey, you got lucky, man.
What do you mean, sir?
Well, you're getting to talk to me. You escaped me earlier, and you thought, well, he's not gonna call back again.
No, I figured you're gonna, and I was doing my job.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding you, Mr. Charles.
I'll be back.
Hey, I appreciate it. You know what? I ain't been worth a damn, buddy.
Yeah, didn't you have a birthday recently? I thought Jake was telling me.
I did.
Happy belated.
I really appreciate that. We got some serious stuff here to discuss, brother. I promise you I'm not going to keep you very long because I already did a show earlier today, but I had to jump back on here because I was in the show and I even said I get off here and I always think there was something else. Well, there is in fact something else. This Biden idiot has passed this thing now to where if you even discuss buying a gun or selling a gun with even a family member, that you can be placed under arrest and all this crap. Are you aware of this?
I think I'm starting to see some stuff about that. Yeah, they're trying to expand existing rules to their weird interpretation. Essentially, go after lawful transactions.
Well, here's what
the final rule clarifies that even
I'm going to tell you something. I find myself all the time trying to find the words to even discuss something so incredibly stupid. This is... See, when you say demonic, it doesn't even cover it. It really doesn't. It don't even begin to touch this. Why don't we have a law saying that if you are a dumb moron that is trying to even touch or change our Constitution? Look, do you know what God-given unalienable rights are? Do you know what that means? Charles, I'm not talking to you, brother, because I know.
I am well aware, yeah.
I know you know. But so do I, and so do we real Americans out here. We really know that. So, look, I said on the earlier show, how come that we don't pick up and go discover another land or something and just start all over? Well, here's the problem with that. Okay, the world's already been flown over several times now, and people's already found everything there is to find. We know pretty much every square inch of the earth. So there ain't no place to run to, nor would I want to run. But we are infested and we are getting invaded by this mold that has growed in the closet. We seen it in the closet and we left it there and we said, oh, I'll get to it later, or nobody wanted to deal with it. And then you after a while it gets so bad you can't even use that closet. You close the door and it comes creeping out the cracks and stuff. Now it's all over your hall. Now, next thing you know, you can't go in your living room. Next thing you know, that house needs to be burnt down, tore down. Okay, we're talking about the Second Amendment here. We're talking about the country. And I'm telling you right now, this right here, if you want to look this up, it's prison for all, ? Biden gun control order is here, ! Statistics say it is now, but it's Tom Grieve is the channel. If you want to pull that up, Charles, TomGrieve, I think.
G-R-I-E, you said V-E-S?
Grieve.
Got it, perfect.
Yeah, but pull this up and look at this, because if you just ask a family member if they want to buy a gun, then you can be brought up one time. So you're made out to be a gun dealer. Look, this ain't maybe a possibility. It's already happened, dude. I mean, I can't get it any clearer. If somebody says a mouth or runs their mouth hole about changing our Constitution, if it's something for the bad like that, that's absolutely ludicrous, they should be put in prison immediately for the rest of their freaking days. Because they're not adding something to it saying, yeah, and furthermore, if you want to go out and film people, you know, or whatever to cover your own, or if you want to wear, you know, I don't know, something positive. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about anything that is against, that's negative. And these wimpy liberals that's saying no guns, why are they here? Why are they in a country that is, I mean, that is our whole basis of having this country, is the right to have a well-armed militia. A well-armed militia. Who is that? That's you. That's me. That's you. Everybody here. Charles, you wasn't here earlier for the earlier show here, but I actually showed on where there is a Chinese lady from communist China that migrated over here, and she gets it. She gets it. She nails it. Because she's talking to, the guy's name is Hogg, H-O-G-G, and he's this person that says no guns, blah, 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 and he's a big whatever, anti-gun, this and that and the other thing. Which these people need to be arrested. They need to be arrested. They need to be brought up on treason for going against our Constitution. You don't have any right whatsoever to say anything against our Constitution. Okay, but she asked that hog head guy, she said, can you guarantee me as a immigrant from China that seen people under Mao who 20-some million people were unalived from not having ways of protecting herself, can you assure me that the government will never ever become tyrannical? And you know what he said? He said no. He said I can't guarantee that. And then she said, well, guess what? You will never ever take my guns from me then, because I see what happens when you don't have them. And you know what? You tell me right now, Charles, you tell me two people, and you and I have talked about this before, but we go into a room, now I'm not talking about you and I, but if you put, let's say that, a person has to have a certain amount of whatever a day to sustain themselves. And let's say, just for the sake of it, is one has to have 100 and the second person has to have 100. Okay, and they get locked in a room, and down through the chute in two separate places comes 25s. Okay, so slowly they can kind of go for a little while, but then their bodies start withering up and stuff, and then one gets to the point where they're saying, hey, I got to have that other guy's. So what stops the bigger one from just beating the shit out of the other little one and taking what the other one has? Okay, now, the bigger one more than likely is going to win, right?
Yeah.
But again, if you throw an equalizer in there like a firearm, and see, this is really, I don't even know why I'm going that direction. The direction I should be going is exactly what the Constitution means. It's not for hunting. It's not for sport. It ain't for anything else. It is to use against the very people that are becoming tyrannical, the government. This is for when the government stops working. This is what the Constitution says. It's not only my right to do so, but it's my obligation. That means I have to do it. And do you know why you have to do it? You have to do it because if you don't, you're a goner, and you don't have it anymore. And that's why that Benjamin Franklin said when the woman yelled and said, "Hey, what is it that you think you created here or something?" And the woman asked him, said, "Well, what is it now that they have or something?" And he said, "A republic if they can keep it." Now, why did he say that? If they can keep it. Because he who gives up a little sovereignty for freedom has none. We already give up some sovereignty for freedom during the jabby pokey that was unleashed on us from our government. So, the main purpose for me calling back, Charles, and I'm actually glad I got to talk to you for real. But this right here, I really, really want you to watch this. Do you got it pulled up?
Yeah. I have it open with a bunch of other tabs.
Okay, well, pull it up and take a second, and because what this goes on to say is that let me read here for just a minute. Where did this all come from? We don't care about that. The facts, okay, right there. The facts is around like 3. It's like 3:30 or something like that. So let's watch just a second here.
Look forward to joining that discussion. Back to the video. So, what's just one of my many, many, many problems with this? Alright, here's just one. It doesn't follow the statistics. Let me show you why. To do this, I'm going to put all the pieces on the chessboard that we're going to start moving them around together. One of them is going to be the 2019 Department of Justice study that examined crime and crime firearms.
We don't want to see that. We want to know the, like what actual, well, we want to see all of it, but the point in all this, to listen. I'm trying to find where he actually says, give us just a minute, we'll be right back. So, let's play this one more time. I'm going to turn up just a little bit, because
Quote, the final rule
very
clarifies
important
that even a single firearm transaction may be sufficient to require a license, end quote. Now, that is a direct quote from whitehouse.gov website. That's the link that you can find in the description box below that goes through the executive order that will be going into effect on May 10th, 2024. Let me translate what that means. It means that if you sell a single firearm, you could be committing a felony and going to prison. Yes, that's what's going on here. The civilian disarmament enthusiasts are intentionally misleading people with their press releases and their use of statistics, and in this video, I will show you why and with the real statistics.
Now, did you hear what he just said? He said they're misleading them purposely.
Yes, that's what's going on.
So one not even actually doing it, just talking about it. Like if you, to your family member, just say, "Hey, you want to buy a gun?" You potentially could go to prison. And when it's sort of like whenever the cops use dumb words like when they say, can and will be held against you. Okay, forget about the will part. It's can be, or wait, forget about the can part. It's the will part that will be held against you, because they're all liberals. They're not intelligent people by no stretch of the imaginations. I mean, these people got to go. They got to go. What do you think, No?
Yep.
Gotta go. So I'm calling in because I think you can figure this one out pretty easy. They gotta go. This has got to go. Not only does it got to go, I mean, it's not even here. Even though they make it a law, just like prohibition, do you think for 1 second that everybody said, well, prohibition's here, alcohol's illegal, we're not going to drink anymore? Okay, but unlike prohibition, you are talking about the very thing that this country is based off of, is our right to be a well-armed militia. Okay, and when you start talking about, because that, make no mistake, that is exactly what they're talking about here, is they're talking about unarming us. We're not having it. And I'm not talking about yesterday. We want Brad on this now. We don't want him having these weekends off because he keeps taking the damn weekends off. And I give him till tomorrow, but we want an answer on every week. He is to provide us with all the questions that have been asked of him and the process or where he's at in getting these things that's asked, or not asked, but told of him that we want done, like where he's at in the proceeding of accomplishing what it is that we need done. Because just like this, how in the hell do we know that he's going to do a damn thing about this? How do we even know? Because I can sit here and I can bellyache for 2 hours, but then it's like, where's the follow-up? Where's the answer for this? Once a week, we want him to address we the people, and I said this on the other show, he can do this at the winstriphouse.gov, for all you out there, winstriphouse.gov, if that's where he wants to post it at or what have you. But how come he doesn't have like an address or something to, I mean, are we the people, do we really mean that little to him that he can't address us? Because, you know, here's the thing, he can go and he can say, well, I went and I did this and I looked into COVID and I went, well, you know, well, big deal, dude. There is so many irons in the fire right now. He shouldn't be sleeping. He shouldn't look well rested at all. He should look haggard and ragged right now. He should be exhausted right now. Have you seen him today?
Yes, between his hearings, I did.
Okay, well, I really mean it. I hope that he is healthy. I don't want anybody to be in. But what I'm talking about, there is so much stuff. Charles, you know what I'm saying here. I don't want ill on anybody, but I don't understand how somebody could be at rest or even speaking like that everything's okay. Look, you got Mike Johnson, who made a deal to fund the unalive of God's creation on this debauchal deal that he put through bipartisan with the demon rats. And I mean, I don't understand what in the hell is going on, but that's a problem, because all of this that's going on should be by we the people. It should. How come we're not informed? Why don't we know what's going on? You know what? Everybody that I know, we sit back and it's like, well, I don't know what they're doing, and myself included. And I sure as hell can't stand that. And this is a problem whenever we don't know what's going on, because we have the confusion and the shit that's going on now because of that. Because we don't know what's going on. I'm talking to people now and they say, well, you know, how did we get here? But more importantly, how do we get out of it? I said, start speaking up. Call your representative and give them a chance at least, which I think they've had way past ample time to do something. But you got Ron DeSantis now. Did you happen to see this shit that's going on? DeSantis come out and he's saying now, you know what? Hold on here. Let's find this here. Hold on. That way I can let everybody else see out here. And I was going to do a video on it, but this is a perfect opportunity to do this. Charles, pull this up. It is, hold on just a minute here. Hey, keep that one and watch that for me, Charles, will you? Look up First Coast News. And what's your in particular, hold on, we got to pay with our time here, you know, the commercial thing. It's Ron DeSantis, Florida's governor, who is hating on we the people because we did not choose him for president. So he has in our face now. See, we already figured him out. Ron DeSantis, see, he pretended like he was for the people and, I didn't close down my borders during COVID and all that stuff, which was a lie because there was, I can remember I was down there. There was beaches and stuff that was locked up tighter than a frog's hind end. Okay, now, did you find that, Charles?
The Ron DeSantis one?
Yeah.
Or, I'm on First Coast News. I have not.
Okay, look up, the name of it is DeSantis signs Florida bills criminalizing people harassing. But see, this is huge because none of this ever, just like, we used to have a border for the United States, but we don't have borders now. There is no Ohio, there is no Kentucky, there's no California. Okay, we have a country, and they say abide by federal law, but then they say, but we got to recognize state law. So they always kind of treat us, we the people, like we're ping pong balls. But no. See, it's the other way around. We're going to start. No, I've already started. They're not going to be the tail wagging the dog. The dog is going to wag the tail like it's supposed to be. They keep us in confusion. No. I say we take the confusion away. Because they're the ones that's actually confused. These are the ones who's thinking that it's their way. And it's not at all. I said it before, I'll say it again. I think if you can afford it, and I don't care what it is, a tank, a missile, I don't care what it is, you ought to be able to own it. And you should own it. If you can own it, own it. Because all this fighting against our Second Amendment and all of our other amendments also is treasonous. It's treason. It's plain and simple. Did you find it, Charles?
Yes, I didn't find it on that website, but I found it. Is it the legislation essentially preventing civilian review boards that investigate police?
Yes. Did you hear what you just said? Civilian review boards. Sanctimonious here, as Trump calls him. See, you ought to see him when he says citizens. He's got a disgust look on his face. And if you look at the cops that's standing right behind him, like they are loving this, man. But it's like, wow, we can't believe that we're getting like Rhino Ron here, liberal Ron. He doesn't understand. No. I'm going to correct myself right here. No. He fully understands what he's doing. We, the people, figured him out that he was nothing but an implant. He's a rhino, and we figured him out, and he doesn't like it. So now he is retaliating against we, the people. This is retaliation. If you watch this, you will see him. This is how they retaliate against us. Because we figured him out. We didn't want him for president. At one time, I said this earlier, I'll say it. I actually thought in the future maybe he would be a good president. But I knew that he had a lot to, learn first and everything. But it's so clear now after this one right here that he's doing. This is his payback to we, the people. Because if these things right here even just say, you're interfering, they can lock you up and take you to jail. And everybody knows that if you don't have it recorded, it never happened. So you tell me, how is it, which way is it here? So if your mom, Charles, if she gets out and she thinks, hey, I think I'm just going to record so I can remember what all is going on here, and they say, you got to turn that off. Well, no, I'm just recording because I want to make sure that I remember, what I said and stuff. I don't want to, miss my, what. No, turn it off or you're going. They don't have to say turn it off again. But then they put your mom in the back of that cruiser with handcuffs on. How you going to feel? You ain't going to like that. It should never be. Look, don't treat the symptoms. Treat the cause. Fix the cause. The cause of the problem is right here. And it's Biden and anybody else that's not fighting for we the people. Look, I don't have any illusions to that there are bad things coming. I know it is. But I refuse to go down and not be swinging. I am going down, if I have to, with everything blazing. They are taking away, if you go to a ball game or something and you start to, here, matter of fact, I'll tell you what, there's a video that I watched where there's a robed god that they think is a robed god. Well, no, Noma's giving me a look here, Charles, or whatever, because she knows how I am about God. There is no other God. There's one God. We know that. So I'm being kind of, I'm being kind of, what do you call it? I'm trying to be silly with it or whatever. Maybe I shouldn't be at all. But I'm talking about these people that wear these robes are gods to liberals. And, they once was called judges, but they're corrupt. And literally, here's what happened. There's a judge that was actually arresting, or not arresting, but he had the sheriff arrested in his courtroom. Because he told the sheriff, they found out the sheriff, wherever it's at, that he was embezzling money through the volunteer fire department, and he bought like $3 million, which what fire department has got $3 million? Because they're always having fish fries to raise stuff, and I go buy fish. Delicious, by the way. Tartar sauce with ketchup. Good tartar sauce is hard to find. But anyway, see what I mean? I try to be silly like that, but it's really not a funny thing at all. I'm dead serious. What volunteer fire department has $3 million and some dollars that this sheriff was buying cars with the volunteer fire department's credit card or debit card, whichever it was, and then he would take those cars and then he would resell them so it's laundered, see, and then he would put that money in his bank account. And he was buying gifts for his family. Anyway, the same sheriff. Now, mind you, this is a sheriff. Okay, the robed god to the liberals, judge, said, hey, I told you not to have any firearms before you come back to court. Well, they found firearms on him or something. And the judge, no kidding, almost breaks the hammer. You can look it up. I don't remember the name of it. I'll find it later if anybody's interested. Anyway, but he smashes the gavel down or whatever, and that's the hardest I've ever seen a robed one smack a gavel. He hits it. So, but he has the corrupt sheriff arrested and taken away. And then on top of it, he said, go search his house and see if there's any more stuff. But you see the corruption that is going on here, the cops, this is the point that I'm trying to make. The cops need to be recorded. It's our right. If they're in public, they are to be recorded. The Supreme Court has already ruled that they are to be recorded. The Supreme Court. Charles, listen to me, brother. Our federal court, our Supreme Court of the land, said that you have the right to record these. Okay, but what happens, just like with New York, when these places don't like what the Supreme Court says, or the law, what it says, then they do whatever the hell it is that they want to do. So, sanctimonious dude here down in Florida says, well, you have a right to record and everything, but in Florida, we're going to do this. So, we need for Brad to get on top of this and whatever the heck he can do. And why don't he ever call me for help? Where's the people that's on fire at? Because I'll tell you what, Ted Cruz, you can watch him ripping some ass. And you can watch Matt Gaetz, and by golly, that dude rips some ass. So what's Brad doing? He's just going out like a ball of I don't know, yarn instead of a ball of fire? Wouldn't he want to like really fight for this country? I mean, does he not understand? And this is a question here. So let me put it in a way that is directed to him. You apparently do not understand the state of this country, and you apparently do not understand the hearts, the soul of the American people of where we're at. Because we do not feel safe. We're not safe. That's why we don't feel safe. And you're not, and you're taking on something that's across seas that happened to us. That is done. Don't get me wrong. It's still going on. That's great that you're looking in to the vid thing. Great. But besides that, what the hell are you doing? And where is the accountability? Everybody talks about accountability and the transparency. Well, where in the hell is it at? What does that mean to be transparent? Doesn't that mean that whatever you want to know, you can see? And accountability, doesn't that mean when something has been or not been done that you actually show that or make somebody own up to it? And where's he at? Where is he at? I don't see any passion from him. Anytime that I've watched anything that Brad's doing, I don't see any compassion from him. And somebody's got to point me to something that's so wonderful. And don't get me wrong, I think it's great that he saved some dude's life. That's great. But you know what? We're later on down in the future from when that happened, and now we're to the point where is he going to save our lives? Isn't that what he's in there for? Is to save our country? I mean, not by himself, absolutely. But you know what? We've got to have not just transparency and accountability, but we've got to have people taking responsibility. Damn, that's good. I'm glad that's recorded. Sometimes I say things that amazes me. Well, it's pretty much any time I open my mouth, but Gnome's shaking her head. Yeah, no, but I'm trying to be funny here again or whatever. But I'm serious, Charles. How do we wake him up? How do we get him awake? Look, I'm getting ready to fill out my paper and send it because I want a meeting with him. And I'm so glad some things that I had to take care of had to be taken care of because there was some really, really evil stuff. And I'm not kidding you. With some liberal-crats. Liberal-crats, that's pretty good. That I had to take care of, and I had to get, you know. So wait just a minute. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. All right, and we're back with our good buddy and friend, the world-famous answer machine at Brad Winstrup's, Mr. Charles. Charles, again, can you believe all this stuff with, them trying to take the rights of the people and stuff away with being recorded and stuff? I mean, this is insane.
Oh, yeah, happens quite often with interpretations.
So how do we? Well, I can't place it in. Well, you know what? I could ask you that question. But hey, this jumped into my head, Charles. I want to share this with you and everybody else. But if you watch the show that I put on earlier, which it's not out yet, as of this is the 16th of April, 24. Do you know that? When you call the switchboard operators, how unbelievably awesome those people are?
I did not know that. I usually just call direct to an office. But they're helpful because I know at one point there were some issues. I think sometimes it would get a little weird when trying to pronounce last names. At one point there's a member called Bruce Westerman, and people would call from his district and they would get us because the switchboard would misinterpret Westerman as Wenstrup. But we haven't had that in a while. So
I see.
I guess they're fixing it.
I'm glad you cleared that. No, let me tell you why I bring them up. Is because I have been sharing the best news with everybody, which is God is alive and well. But I also share the other really, really good news with them because there's a lot of people that will get discouraged and stuff because of the liberalcrats and stuff that's out there. And once again, let me reiterate, when I say liberals, Democrats, or liberalcrats, think of the most vile, disgusting, demonic thing that you can, anything that's nasty you can think of and place it there. Okay, now, but I talk to these people and they'll be kind of downhearted and stuff, but I said, nope. Good news is God's alive and real. And the second thing is you wouldn't believe how many people feel just like you do. And they'll say, how so? What are you meaning? Well, here's what I mean. How many times, and you do this all the time, Charles, when you're talking to somebody without using any words, you can kind of get across to each other what you're trying to say. And these people, without saying it, because, and I want something done about this too. And I'll ask you about the bullshit law here shortly. But when you're talking to these people that are in positions where they're not supposed to be able to say, God bless you and America, and we need to get this right, and we need people to leave our Constitution alone because they're at work, we have a problem, don't we? How have we created our own tangle? You know what I'm talking about too, is because we say, you know what, everybody's equal, everybody's allowed freedom of speech. Okay, when you say that, then you have people that will say like horrible, nasty things. Not for any other reason other than they can just say them. You know what I mean? And then you say, well, I did say freedom of speech. So I guess if they want to say that, it's okay. And it is. If you're going to have freedom of speech, whether you like it or not, it should be freedom of speech. Right?
Yeah. Sorry, I wasn't sure if that was a rhetorical question or...
Well, no, I'm actually glad that you hesitated and said that just like what you did, because that's what we all need to do. We all need to think, well hold on here. Is this something that I should respond to or not respond to? Before people respond, they really need to think about what it is that they're responding to. Now, I said that because just like with Obama, it makes me I'm not allowed to say the word, starts with an M, right? I'm not allowed to say, okay. So I have to say unalive, okay? So I am responsible for unaliving over 1 point some million God's creation. Now, somebody might say, well, how is that? Well, it hit me as hard as I've ever been hit before by anything, because somebody said that Obama was the biggest supporter of what the Lord makes in a female. He was responsible for the biggest amount of them being unalived. And I never really thought about that. But then he went on to say, so if you voted for Obama, you are responsible for that. So I am responsible for that. And I think that's whenever I say that people need to take responsibility, that's something that is so incredibly hard for me to accept, but it's true. And I say that because as much as I would like to bury that and never ever speak about that or admit that, it's true. And if you're going to have transparency, then, you you have to own up to, your responsibility. So I have an obligation to do, which is to make sure that before I vote for anybody, that I understand who that is and who they are. And the money aspect of this, I don't know. See, I have to have Brad to answer the questions. At the end of the week, we want Brad to say, hey, here's the questions that come in through the week, to clarify so that we know that he got that message. And I'm not saying that you didn't take it to him, because I know that you do, Charles, 100%, man. I'm a fan of yours. God, I say that, I'm telling you the God's honest truth. I appreciate you more than you would ever know, honestly. I think you're brilliant. But how do we know that Brad didn't just, okay, Charles, give me that, and then, just it went out the other side of his head, in one ear and out the other. So we have to have accountability. It's like, okay, well, you got what was asked, but what did you do with it? That's accountability. Where's the everybody wants to say, well, let me be clear. I want to be transparent about this, So the way that he can do that is by, if he actually says the questions that have been asked and where he's at with those questions, just like Noam had something or whatever that she was asking or something, and then you said, hey, let me read, or whatever, and you was helping her with that, But, we don't know if maybe he just forgot about it, because I guess that would be important to say also, wouldn't it? That I'm not saying that Brad throws this stuff away because he doesn't want to be bothered with it, or it's, beneath him or something. I'm saying, maybe he needs to be reminded of it. Or maybe, what about this? What about if this truly is a better way for every representative, politician, or whatever? See, I hate calling them politicians. Every one of them, even the president, is a representative. But if every representative would do this, sort of like an address to the nation thing, well, how come that and why not? Because think about this, where does our voices go? How do we get it out there? Who do we go to talk to, Charles?
Sorry, you're cutting out there. We're getting a second call, so there's a bit of a cross-up. Called who there?
No. What I'm asking is, who are we the people supposed to talk to? What? Okay, we're supposed to call Brad's office, right?
Yeah.
Our office that Brad represents from.
If it's a Senate issue, or you have your representatives.
Right. So if we're telling our representatives what we want done, and then we hear nothing back, it's just like, well, and let me tell you, I'm telling you, as much as I can tell somebody anything, this is why nobody is having any kind of faith in the government. If you go to him right now and you tell him that this is what I want done, and he does it, he will have single-handedly started a turnaround for the way that we, the people, view the government. From that alone, if he would respect us enough, because, see, he's not representing, although he does, the other states or even the other parts of this here state. If he would start doing that, I'm telling you, he single-handedly would do something that would go down in history huge. And he could do that by simply coming out and saying, once a week, we're going to do this. And he could say, we received 250 questions. Here's the top 10 or something like that, and list them. I mean, he could have you all write them down or something like that. He wouldn't have to say every single one of them, but they could be listed there. And he could go over and he could just go over the top 10 for the week or something like that. And here's this. Or he could do it randomly. He could have somebody standing next to him or something. I volunteer, free of charge. But they could stand there and they could say, well, what about this question here? Oh, yeah, that's where they want to know what's being done with the firearms and stuff like that in the Constitution, whatever. Okay, we got a hold of Governor DeWine, Liberal-crat, and talked to him about it, and his office haven't got back to us yet, but we're still waiting on that. We're going to follow up with that. We got Charles calling him every hour on the hour. But why don't he do that? He wouldn't have to go down if there is that many. But how many questions, honestly, not questions, how many demands, honestly, Charles, how many demands today have there been?
1 second. We're the 16th. About 15 calls and emails.
You're kidding.
66 yesterday.
Wait, you said 15 today?
Yes.
And 16 yesterday?
66.
Oh, 60. Wow. That is sad. That is super. Okay, but all right, well, let's start with the 16 today. Man, I think I got 20 I just laid on him in one call. If you took 16, though, Charles, right now, and you line that up, is all 16 different?
1 second. No, we got some varying ones. You have a couple of people with pro-Israel sentiments, concerned about the border, pro and con about Ukraine aid, incompetence of Congress comes up in one of them.
Okay, so that's government. When he says that's government, that's not, okay, so a different word, but it means the same thing. Congress, government, same thing. Now, okay, but what I'm getting at here, Charles, is that if you say, okay, well, here's 3 calls that's about government, okay, here's 4 calls about, well, you know, that boils down to what, 5 things, you know, like from the 16? Because people are saying the same thing, and I totally agree with them, 1,000%. So thank you. Yes, Ukraine, nothing but a money pit, just like what was happening with all the other wars and stuff. It made our government people, the corrupt people that pretend to be the government, really, really stupid, wealthy, and rich. And it's no different now. It's the same thing. Ukraine, everybody knows that this is absolutely... What was it we talked about with Jake the other day? I went down a list where it shows from this... Did you know this, Charles? I know you do. There's a list, and I can pull it back up, but they actually show where Biden is receiving, 93 million? 94 million? Okay, I missed it by a couple, whatever. Okay, but then there's a whole list of people on there, and one of them that sticks out to me also is Ratskin. Old Ratskin there, you know, he's got like 40-some million. Do you know what I'm talking about? This thing that they just sent for Ukraine aid and all that stuff?
I think I have an article open that I've been meaning to read on it, yeah.
Okay, hold on. Give me just a minute. We'll be right back. All right. Well, anyway, can't find the list right now, but we will. It's on the.
Did you share it with Jake? Because if so, I could just ask him. I could bother him for it.
I did, but anyway, this comes from the $1 trillion, and this was the one that had a big chunk of it that was going toward unaliving God's miracles, and that Mike Johnson was right in on. I don't trust that dude no more than I can throw him. But when you go through there and you see that they're asking Not asking, they don't ask us nothing. But when they already did the 1 point some trillion, look, $1 trillion. We're not talking about millions or billions. It's trillions, you know. Okay, but then you look at that list and it's like 90 some million goes to Biden. Like, why? How is this even possible? Doesn't this like enrage the right out of everybody? I mean, because there's a list. There's like 30 people on this list. I don't remember how many it is, but it's like da, 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 da. And all of them's getting like millions of dollars. How is that even possible? Look, they're supposed to be getting paid, you know, their salary, you know, but we talked about this before. It's so little and so minute because it's only, what was it, like 200,000 a year or something like that for...
members of the House make 174.
Yeah, 174,000. Thanks, Charles. But you know what I mean? That don't mean nothing to them. They don't care about that. When you're talking about millions and millions of dollars, look, also the thing that I want you to let him know is I expect an answer on... I don't want somebody that wants to run for any office to have a GED or a diploma or anything, because the only one, and we have to somehow, we got to get a lid on the expenditure of money and stuff. What I mean is this has to be a more even playing field, because who can compete with somebody that's got like millions of dollars? Just like right here in the good old county of Jackson, Ohio, you know, where the sheriff he runs unopposed because he's got it all locked up, buddy. I'm telling you, he's got his woman is the coroner or something like that, toe tagger or something like that here, and then she's some nurse somewhere, and they got like a $1 million farm on the other side of Jackson there and everything. So, and I mean, just
sir, just to your point, like, given under the Constitution, like, you don't have to have any degree in order to run for the House or the Senate. For the House, you just have to be 25 years or older, be a citizen of the United States for at least 7 years, and reside in the state you want to represent. So, you know, a member who wants to represent Ohio can't live in Kentucky or Florida or something. They have to be from the state, be residing in the state. But I'm looking here to try to find anything, and just except for the constitutional requirements, there does not appear to be any other qualifications on members.
so are you saying that if somebody wants to run for mayor or something, that you don't have to have a high school diploma?
I think mayor might be a little different. I think because you start getting kind of how states run those things, but at least for the federal offices, like here in DC, you wouldn't need one.
Okay, here's
I can see if I can find.
Charles. That is amazing that you just did that. That is huge, man. That's probably one of my favorite things that I have heard. No kidding, dealing with anything that has to do with the government. That's cool. Just like you don't have to have a driver's license if you're traveling in your vehicle across the United States, going to the store or anything else. You know about that one, don't you?
I think I've heard you talk about that one before. It's not as familiar. Oh, okay, so I did find it because I was trying to see if they have it. So Ohio also does put out, quick side note, Ohio does put out a little publication called the Ohio Candidate Requirement Guide. They update it every year for like offices within Ohio. So, you know, whether it's, you know, your local township offices to county boards, right, or county commissioner or the General Assembly in Columbus, they do have additional information and kind of like what the rules and classifications are within the state of Ohio.
Okay, and you can find that where?
So I just Googled Ohio Candidate Guide 2024, and Secretary LaRose's office. It should come up like it's one of the first options. It's just candidate guide requirement for this year.
Wow. Well, thank you very much, Charles. I appreciate that. That's cool.
My pleasure.
Look up the not right now, but with sometime like whenever you're bored because you don't do anything, right? LOL, LOL. Just kidding. Listen, but look into that. See, it's in our Constitution, and it plainly says whether it's a horse or a horse and buggy or an automobile. You don't have to have a license. You only need a driver's license if you're doing commerce. So I'm telling you, if you go out and you get in your vehicle and you drive your vehicle and you get pulled over and you're not speeding or anything, you do not have to have, you don't show them your driver's license. You just tell them, say, how can I help you? They'll say, yeah, I noticed you ain't got a tag on your car, whatever it is, and say, I'm not driving. And they'll say, yes, you are. But you're not driving if you're not making money. So, with that being said, Charles, I made you a promise here. I'm going to keep to it. I noticed what time it is, and I know you're gracious, and you said that not to worry about it and stuff, but I am going to worry about it. You've got a life too. And
I'll be here for a little while longer.
I think I told you I had the pleasure. I pulled your picture up, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, and I hope that your awesome partner of yours there, I hope she's doing well.
Yes. Yep. Just a busy time of year.
Yep. I hope y'all get married. You guys look good together. Yep.
Well, I appreciate it.
And I won't ask her name or say it or whatever, but you guys are awesome, and tell her that we send our thanks to her too.
Will do, sir.
Yeah, Charles, thank you so much. Hey man, no kidding, I really thought that was amazing. The information that you just gave me about the federal government not requiring any kind of what do you call a degree or even a diploma or anything?
Yeah, I called it generally a degree, but yeah, the only requirements are that found within the Constitution, and then, but like for state offices or your local offices, that may change depending on the state constitution. I am unfortunately not an expert in Ohio's state constitution.
Well, we're not holding anything, we're not chiseling anything down, but the people can definitely do their own research and stuff. But you never know. I might try to run for something, or at least walk real fast, one or the other. Hey, I got like 3 people here that's giving me the high sign and everything else, because I did tell you I was going to let you off here, and I don't want to hold you. So these guys here will be still. I'm going to get off here, and I want to tell you, we greatly appreciate it. We're going to call back tomorrow, Charles. This ain't a threat. Hopefully, it's sort of a promise, so we can get the answer from Brad about having a weekly, I don't know, address to the 2nd district.
All right, just making sure I highlight that, and then as well as the Naomi correspondence as well.
Yeah.
Starting to flag that.
Yeah, well, if you want, I can have Amy to call you, or you can write her down too, she said.
You said Amy?
Yeah.
Very good. Perfect. I have that down as well.
All right. Hey, thanks again. God bless, man.
You as well, sir. Have a good rest of your day.
All right, bye. All right, so that's our buddy Charles. Man, I was glad that I actually did another show today. Listen, that's enough for right now, but I really, really encourage you guys to go and to dive into that, because
0%
it is
interest.
well worth your time of going and looking at that and finding out for your own information on this stuff that I'm telling you. It is mind-blowing to think that anybody thinks that they have the right to mess with our Constitution. And usually these are the liberals, the liberal-crats out there that think that they have some kind of a right to do that. But I'm here to tell you right now, there is no right to do that. And so check out the sanctimonious deal here for sure, because that ain't going to fly. It ain't going to fly. Listen, God bless America. God bless you and yours. We're praying for you. Thanks for praying for us. And I'm telling you right now, we are going to take this country back. We're already taking it back. It's going to happen. So, love you, Lord. Love you, boss. Peace out.